The scene opens with Mary describing her life. When she was 3 years old, she lost her father, and her mother told her that because he was an angel, God took him to heaven. God had other plans for her even though she also desires to go to heaven. Her life centers on Jesus. She is a member in good standing of the Christian Jewels, with her two best friends Hilary Faye and Veronica. Her mother, Lillian, is recognized as the top Christian interior decorator in the region. With a perfect Christian boyfriend, Dean Withers, and confirmation that she is about to become a senior at an extremely good Christian school, she is looking forward to a bright future. But 2 weeks before summer break ended, everything changes for her. In the swimming pool, while playing the game of telling each other their secrets underwater, Dean reveals to Mary that he is gay. Mary is startled, hits her head, and begins to drown when she has a vision of a man she believes to be Jesus, but he is actually the pool maintenance worker. Mary then realizes that Jesus is telling her that it is her responsibility to save Dean. In the following scene, she talks with her mother over the call, and tells her that she has got a little bump on her head and there is not much to worry about. Her mother and Pastor Skip, the principal of Mary's school, are forming a close bond while Lillian is away at the Christian Community Leaders Convention in Orlando. But this is not a concern for her. She is worried about what her boyfriend has revealed to her in the swimming pool. She couldn't believe what her boyfriend told her about him, because as far as she knows, he is an athlete who is constantly strengthening himself, physically, creatively, and spiritually for God. She decides to save her boyfriend by any means necessary, believing that this is Christ's will. For the rest of the summer, she and her boyfriend diligently work on this together, and they begin to develop a close relationship. Even so, she was unsure whether to provide Dean with what he required. She needs spiritual guidance or a sign from Christ, for which she reaches out to Hilary Faye, who, according to her, has spiritual solutions to all the problems. Hilary claims that Jesus could make someone pure again by giving them a chaste heart, and with this, Mary becomes clear with her next move. Mary goes to her boyfriend's house and gets intimate with him. Mary prays to Jesus to restore her spiritual and emotional purity in exchange for curing Dean, and she starts her senior year without any baggage, leaving everything behind. Hilary Faye picks up Mary and Veronica for school, and when they reach Dean's house he gets late, so Mary goes to check on him. She knocks on his house's door, and his parents open it. She gets shocked to know that despite her efforts in giving her everything to Dean, they have sent him to Mercy House, a Christian treatment center, after they discovered a gay magazine in his bedroom. The news about Dean shocks and disgusts Mary's friends, except Ronald, Hilary's brother. At the school assembly, they meet Cassandra Edelstein, the only Jewish to ever attend the American Eagles, a rebellious student who despises Hilary. In the classroom, the teacher introduces a new student named Patrick Wheeler, who is Pastor Skip's son. He was in South America doing missionary work with his mother, and he toured the world with the Christian Skateboard Association, which most of the students, especially Hilary, find impressive about him. Christian Jewel sings for the morning assembly, while Roland and Cassandra have a conversation, where Roland tells her that he fell down a tree when he was 9 and this is how he ended in a wheelchair. Roland develops an interest in Cassandra and starts staring at her while she walks away. During the prayers in the assembly, Mary questions God for Dean being in the Mercy House despite doing what was his will, and she hopes that Jesus has restored her dignity. Cassandra causes a scene by breaking into obscenities under the guise of speaking in tongues. Hilary understands it and reveals the truth. After that, Cassandra's status goes from a cautionary tale to legend, but she doesn't get expelled from college. While the Christian Jewel community is having the conversation, talking about the scene Cassandra created in the morning, Patrick Wheeler joins them and takes a special interest in Mary while Hilary seems interested in Patrick. Cassandra again appears in the scene when Mary, Hilary, Veronica, Roland, and Patrick are having a good time together in a mall. She is drunk and creates drama. She couldn't even stand properly, so Patrick proposes to drop her home safely. In the school, Patrick never misses any chance of stealing a glimpse of Mary every time he passes her way, which doesn't go unnoticed by Mary and Hilary too. Mary starts vomiting and having morning sickness. After a threatening order from the State Board of Education, a physical intimacy education class is created and added to the syllabus, where the professor tells the students that it is the way to increase the population, and good Christians save themselves until they get married. Mary questions that could Jesus want her and Dean not to wait till marriage, and that's why they made that happen. Mary watches a TV show with her mother, where a woman tells that even though she was having all the pregnancy symptoms like throwing up and missing periods, she was not pregnant, and with the help of a home pregnancy test, she got to know that she is suffering from cancer. And this gives Mary the idea to run a pregnancy test on herself to make sure that she is not pregnant. Mary goes to a pharmacy to buy a pregnancy kit, where she collides with one of her classmates and has a narrow escape. She hurriedly cycles back to her house praying that she is diagnosed with cancer instead of a baby in her womb. But all her hopes shatter when she comes to know that she is pregnant. It seems like her whole world is collapsing right in front of her eyes. Her mind becomes restless and she couldn't even sleep. She tears down the poster of "Miracle Happens" from the wall of her room because she no longer believes in miracles. Mary decides to hide the pregnancy from her classmates, as well as her mother Lillian, who is covertly dating Pastor Skip, the school's divorced principal. Hillary organizes a prayer circle meeting for Dean, and ultimately the whole school gets to know the truth about Dean, which Mary wanted to hide from everyone. Roland and Cassandra meet in private in a downtown, where they share their secrets that Cassandra is not a stripper and Roland is not a Christian. Cassandra also tells him that she got expelled out of her last school. They were having a friendly conversation when they spot Mary. They get a little surprised by finding her downtown, and this makes Cassandra a bit suspicious. Mary walks on the road blankly, not aware of where she needs to go, just like her life. Feeling forsaken by Jesus, Mary begins questioning her faith and yells abusive words that don't sit well with her spiritual personality. At the prayer circle meeting, Hillary requests everyone to join together and pray to God to free Dean of his unnatural perversions and to bring him out of the darkness and take him into the divine light. Mary's eyes well up with tears when she witnesses how her peers are reacting to Dean's truth. Hillary wants Mary to add something to the prayers, but Mary refuses it, because according to her, Jesus is not listening, as she did everything in her control to save Dean. But he is still in the mercy house. Hillary tries to calm her down by asking her to pray, but Mary gets overpowered by her emotions and rushes out of Hillary's house. Hillary ousts Mary from the Christian Jewel group, snatching the badge from her, fearing that she might pollute the jewel and everything it stands for. Hillary replaces Mary with Tia, an unpopular school student. When she returns home, her mother notices something is off, because she doesn't appear to be in good health. Mary asks her mother if she will also be taken to the Mercy House, but her mother assures her that she has full faith in her daughter, and that she hasn't done anything wrong. After a week of prom and 2 days after her 18th birthday, Mary finds she will become a mother. When she contacts Dean to break the news to him, she realizes her mistake and that they should have at the very least used the protection, and that is what they did wrong. She hears him talking to a man named Murch, just as she is ready to inform Dean that she is pregnant with his child. Their conversation distracts her. She learns that Murch shares the same room with Dean, and is staying at the Mercy House for the same reason as Dean is. He is the worst of all and has fled from San Francisco. Mary urges Dean to be cautious, and Dean assures her that he will recover. Dean reminds her that she was going to tell him something, but instead of telling him the truth, she asks him about the prom. But Dean cuts the call because he hears the announcement for Christian Haunted House. Mary feels lonely. Patrick compliments Mary's costume at the Halloween party because they are both wearing the same outfit. Mary is evasive. She ignores him and walks away because she is right now preoccupied with too many things. Roland's wheelchair is being pushed by Hillary in Cassandra's direction. Hillary is confident that Cassandra lacks the necessary skills to care for Roland, because it would take a lot of strength and energy. Hillary is sure that Cassandra will get irritated with Roland. Mary begins looking for a new god and a new religion in the interim, but she gets horrified by each one. Cassandra interrupts her while she is carrying out a religious ritual. She gets to know from Cassandra and Roland that they witnessed her in downtown, sneaking out of the clinic. Mary makes up the story that she was handing out pamphlets to stop females like her from making mistakes. Principal Pastor Skip stops Hillary and Veronica on their way. He worries about Mary and thinks Hillary and Veronica can help her because she belongs to the Christian Jewels group. To help Mary lead her back to her faith with the compassion and love that only Jesus can give, he needs someone who is spiritually well equipped. He wants them to be especially kind to her, because he thinks she is quite vulnerable. Hillary, Veronica, and Tia confront Mary in the street and try to perform an exorcism on her to aid her in casting out evil. Mary struggles with them, and when it gets too much for her, she begins warning her pals not to act so innocently, since she knows everything about them and they do not know what love actually is. Mary gets struck with the Bible by Hillary because she thinks she is envious of her success. Patrick, who was driving a scooter, stops Mary in her way. Mary hops on his Vespa when he requests her. On their way, they have a conversation. Patrick learns from Mary about her friend's attempts to exorcise her, and Patrick expresses his opinion that Dean is not ill. Mary couldn't believe him as she saw him at Hillary Faye's house when she was praying for Dean. She later learns that he went to the prayer circle because he believed she would be there. Mary was touched by this and becomes silent for a second. Patrick asks her to hang out together to drive Hillary Faye crazy, as he knows that Hillary Faye likes him, but Mary refuses it with a sweet smile on her lips, getting impressed by his adorable move. By Christmas, only Cassandra among Mary's friends realized she was pregnant. There, she recognizes Cassandra in a whole new light. Cassandra talks to her nicely and shows sympathy toward her. When Mary is on the verge of crying, Cassandra gives her a bear hug and a shoulder Mary has needed for so long. While being shunned by Hillary and the rest of their peers, Mary soon unites with Cassandra, who is now dating Ronald, and the three become good friends. Together, the three go shopping, hang out, and have fun. In a mall cafe, while having a chit-chat, Mary asks Cassandra if it bothers her that Roland can't walk, but Cassandra's reaction proves to her that she doesn't have any problem. She doesn't even think that he can't walk. What she cares about the most is that they both understand one another, and this is the most important thing for her in a relationship. Mary is amazed by Cassandra's way of thinking. As they begin to eat their snacks, Patrick and Hillary enter the scene and wish them a Merry Christmas. Despite getting excited, Cassandra becomes depressed and melancholy and admits that she feels excluded throughout the Christmas season as she is a Jew. Hillary advises her to get Christ into her heart to partake in the enjoyment. Cassandra pretends to accept Hillary's suggestion. Cassandra reassures Hillary that she wants it, who at first couldn't trust her. Hillary gets engaged with Cassandra and Mary gets the chance to walk out with Patrick, the chance that Patrick was looking forward to. Patrick leads Mary into a pitch-black room before abruptly turning on the lights. Mary is taken aback by how wonderfully the room is decorated with Christmas trees and vibrant lights. She finds it to be incredibly alluring, and she suddenly feels joyful. Patrick makes an effort to win Mary's attention by admitting his feelings for her by citing her beauty, independence, and inspiration. Before they could move forward, gifts fall on their heads, and Mary comes to her senses. They become caught up in the moment. Mary claims that Patrick is not her type, therefore they can't be together. But this does not stop Patrick from liking Mary. He offers Mary a tiny bag filled with gifts as she runs outside, and Mary finds this little act adorable. Hillary makes Cassandra listen to the entire Elms CF to save her, so Cassandra, being a mischievous one, taps a piece of rotten bacon inside Hillary Faye's locker to take her revenge. When Hillary learns that Cassandra had been faking it the entire time, she becomes furious and even pushes Tia away. Tia gets shocked by this behavior of Hillary. On Valentine's Day, Hillary makes Patrick a heart-shaped card, which Mary thinks is a dumb idea. The same day, Mary discovers a heart-shaped card Patrick had left in her locker. This brings a wide smile to Mary's lips that was missing from the past few months. Mary takes that card to her house and keeps thinking about Patrick. The following scene finds Patrick and his father watching TV while seated on a couch. Patrick is advised by the pastor that because Mary is going through a lot of changes right now, a relationship is the last thing she needs. As he scarcely communicates with his wife, Patrick smirks mockingly at him and claims that he is not a relationship expert. While Pastor is discussing her board game when Lillian and Pastor meet, Lillian becomes distracted by a couple kissing behind Pastor. Lillian is encouraged by this and admits that she missed him and their meetings since she enjoys being with him. Listening to Lillian, Pastor's throat becomes dry, and he sips coffee nervously. Lillian questions why God has bestowed upon them a sense of joy when what they are doing is evil. As he realizes where things are going, Pastor tries to divert the subject but can't help but kiss Lillian. Their new relationship officially begins at this point. Both of them find the reason for happiness in their otherwise dull and depressing lives. The next scene shows Cassandra and Hillary fighting once more. Mary cheerfully presents Cassandra and Roland with the sonogram of her daughter to lighten Cassandra's mood, which was earlier ruined by Hillary. Mary reassures Cassandra that keeping the sonography in the locker at school is safer than keeping it at home. Pastor Skip punishes Cassandra after receiving a recording of Cassandra's abusive voice from Hillary. Mary agrees to attend prom with Patrick as a friend when Patrick asks her. Hillary is envious of this, and it sears her spirit. Continuously harassed by Hillary, Cassandra and Roland retaliate by uploading photos of a young, overweight Hillary to the school's computer system. Everyone in the class begins making fun of Hillary as soon as she enters the classroom. She is angry when she sees her childhood photo on the computer screen of every student, so she switches the computer off. When she is unable to present the evidence against Mary and Cassandra, the pastor waves her off and refuses to punish them. Hillary becomes restless at night. She asks God to guide her in the proper direction as she wants to take revenge on them. The school is vandalized the following day with vulgar, anti-religious graffiti. Pastor Skip suspects Mary and Cassandra and finds empty spray paint cans in their lockers. He discovers Mary's pregnancy sonography while looking for additional proof against her in the locker. Mary explains to her mother and the pastor that she saved Dean because Jesus instructed her to do so. In a private conversation with Lillian, the pastor accused her of being so distracted by their relationship that she is unable to notice the baby bump of her daughter. He assumes that God is punishing them for their sins, and now they are not spiritually fit to help Mary. Pastor threatens to break off the relationship with Lillian if she doesn't save Mary, and sends her to Mercy House. Cassandra and Mary are banned from the impending prom and Cassandra get expelled from the school. In a rage, Cassandra leaves Roland alone in the school. At that point, everyone feels alone and everything appears to be in ruins. Nobody is getting what they want. They are depressed, shattered, and lonely. The next scene features Mary arguing with her mother about sending Mary to Mercy House, saying she isn't ready to raise a child on her own, and that doing so could ruin the rest of her life. Mary is aware that her mother is destroying her life by acting in this way. Cassandra apologizes to Roland for ditching him the last night, but he assures her that he is fine. Roland becomes aware of how much he is depending on Cassandra, just as he did with Hillary Faye before her. He doesn't want to be the guy who is with the girl because he needs her. He wants to be the guy who is with the girl because he wants her. And when Cassandra hears Roland admit that he wants her, she responds by saying the same thing while smiling and lightly pressing his palm. At midnight, Ronald calls Mary and asks her to come to Lombard in Mateo, where Cassandra and Ronald buy Mary a red dress even though she has been expelled and banned from the prom. There, it is revealed that Roland found empty spray paint cans in Hillary's van along with credit card receipts from their purchase, which could be used as evidence to bring Hillary to what she deserves. Cassandra and Roland give her yet another surprise by escorting her to the prom with Patrick. Mary is given a choice of red and yellow flowers by Patrick, who assures her that he doesn't mind if she is carrying someone else's child. Patrick and Mary kiss for the first time. Mary finally gets ready to go to the prom with Patrick and is utterly grateful for everything her friend did for her. The Christian Jewel girls don't have any dates when they get to prom. Tia becomes a little irritated by Hillary's aggressive demeanor. In the meantime, Lillian acknowledges that her actions toward her daughter were inappropriate. Hillary ruins Roland, Cassandra, Mary, and Patrick's good time at the prom by letting everyone know they are there. Roland declines Mary's request to leave the prom before anything happens to confront Hillary. Roland reveals that it is Hillary who planted that paint can on Cassandra and Mary to get them kicked out of school. Roland is accused by Hillary of using her credit cards to purchase the paint and Mary's clothing. Hillary is made to swear on God that she did not frame Cassandra and Mary, by Cassandra, Roland, Mary, and Tia. Hillary stoops so low to hide her truth that she swears on God. Tia, who has grown tired of Hillary's lies and hypocrisy, confesses to Pastor Skip, showing her more receipts with Hillary's signature which she found hidden under her car's seat. Veronica also distances herself from Hillary. After being publicly humiliated and rejected by Tia and Veronica, Hillary loses her mind and storms outside while yelling furiously. When Dean, his boyfriend Mitch, and other Mercy House residents arrive to crash the prom, Mary and Patrick meet them in the school lobby. Mary unexpectedly runs into her boyfriend. She becomes ecstatic and tells Dean for the first time that she is pregnant. Hearing the news, Dean is pleased. The Mercy House residents resist being ejected from the prom by Pastor Skip. Mary claims that it is wrong to expel them, and Patrick begs his father not to drive them out. There is no longer anywhere for them to go because they have been expelled from their homes in Mercy House. Pastor declares that there is no room for moral ambiguity here, and the Bible is very clear about that. Mary asserts no one is perfect, not even the pastor himself. Hillary interrupts their conversation and starts driving her van carelessly through the parking lot, eventually crashing into the school's enormous Jesus effigy. Hillary apologizes and appears to be in total disarray. She didn't plan her prom or her life this way. She couldn't control her emotions at this moment. Roland reassures her that Jesus still loves her after she makes an apology. Cassandra consoles Hillary while Mary unexpectedly goes into labor and is taken to the hospital. There is only one seat left in the van, so Lillian snuck in between Patrick and Dean to take it while they try to make room for themselves. Mary is assured by Lillian that everything will be all right. A baby girl is born to Mary. Mary thinks her life is amazing, and Dean thinks her daughter is beautiful. Lillian gently and tenderly cradles the infant in her arms. Pastor Skip, who was against it, arrives at the hospital with flowers, but contemplates going inside. Dean tenderly takes his daughter and kisses her on the forehead. Mary is unsure of what Jesus will do in her life going forward, but she is confident that she will figure it out. Mary and Dean, along with Roland, Cassandra, Patrick, Mitch, and Lillian, stand for a photograph taken by a nurse with their child in Mary's arms. Mary explains in a voiceover how she has reverted to believing in a God who loves and helps those who love and assists those in need.